You're excited. And he's right to be, because we have bells.
Yeah.
American Beer TV, we're doing some East Coast stuff. We're breaking out of our geographic region. And like we mentioned before, Kenny was able to score some Bell's products from Archer Liquor in Chicago.
Yeah, Archer Liquor in Chicago.
So check them
What's up,
out.
Randy?
You know, so we got our hands on some great stuff. So right now we're gonna.
This is an Imperial Stout.
It's Expedition Stout. Now it doesn't
10.5%.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say Imperial Stout or Russian Stout or anything like that.
Yes.
But it is 10.5%, so that pretty much answers the question for you. So
one thing in reading up about this beer is that it said at a younger age that it's got a little hot bitterness that's going to come through. So we'll discuss that as we taste it. And then they say it does age really well, and then that hoppiness will kind of mellow out as it ages. So
makes sense.
It's kind of nice. And this is a winter seasonal from them. They brew it from October through March. So this is like the end of it. So So this bottle is could be a couple months old.
Yeah.
Which is pretty new.
Yeah.
For a beer like this.
Yeah, you could, if you're going to talk about aging and cellaring for a year or two, then crack it open. So here's your glass.
Ooh, look at that! Lots of viscosity.
Serious.
Holy smokes!
Wow.
Cool.
That is nice.
Really, not a huge head.
No.
But really, let's swirl it around. You get that really deep, dark color.
I think that's one of the darkest color heads I've ever seen, man.
Yeah. So lots of roasted malt in this beer, just from appearance alone.
And it's got some legs. Look at how the foam clings to the side, man. Forever. It's got some legs on this.
Yeah.
Wow. Impressive already.
Let's get into the nose.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
I smell the alcohol. It's
Yep.
almost...
It smells like a bourbon barrel.
I know, I was going to say,
doesn't
this smells like an aged beer, but it doesn't say anything about that. I don't think they do that at all. It's all through the malt.
Wow. It's got, that licorice. It's got,
it does. It's got this, like, deep, dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Black coffee.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of just...
a lot going on in the nose. We've got a lot to talk about with the nose of this beer. Really
There's some
complex,
breadiness. There's some breadiness.
A little fruitiness, like that fruit cake kind of comes through, too.
Man.
Malt sweetness comes through.
Yeah, tons of malt sweetness. But it comes off, when you stick your nose in this, it comes off almost like a barrel-aged beer. It doesn't have quite the toasted coconut that you get from that bourbon barrel. But
it really takes over your nose.
But
it really takes
that is aromatic.
Some
as it's warming up,
spiciness comes through too.
I'm getting some kind of dried kind of wheat, not wheat per se. I don't know how to say it, but some of the cracked barley, I guess. Just kind of.
I get a little bit of soy
natural
sauce too.
Huh?
I just got a hint of that.
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying. There's tons of aromas in this thing. It just keeps going.
Soy sauce is pretty typical for
because
stout, though, too.
Well, also because soy sauce is fermented.
Yeah, not that it's salty, but it's like that kind of sweet, dark.
That's part of some of the when you get a really malty beer.
I want to say tobacco too, like a little bit, but not crazy tobacco, but like a little bit.
Man,
some beers really have that tobacco-y.
Yeah,
this has like a little hint of that tobacco.
I think this is the most aromatic non-barrel
just sit here and
beer.
Smell it.
Yeah,
all right, we're done. Turn the camera off.
The only time I've ever gotten aromatics like this have been out of a barrel.
Right.
Yeah. I've never come across anything so aromatic.
Beers really tend to add so many.
But you know what?
Because the spirit barrels, because of the wood and the spirits and all that, really tend to add a lot of aromatics.
But you know what? There's been a lot of these aromatic beers that we crack open, and as soon as you crack them open, you can smell them from here. The whole time we're sitting here, and the whole time we're pouring, I couldn't smell it at all.
Until you get your nose in the glass.
You have to get your nose in it. I mean, so I wasn't thinking it was going to be very aromatic. I stuck my nose in it. I was
folks at home, pour it in a glass like this so you can smell it. Don't pour it in an open pint glass.
Serious.
It won't do it justice. I mean, it'll still taste good. Don't get me wrong. It'll still taste good, but in a cupped glass like this, it'll bring out the aromatics a lot more.
There's biscuit in there. There's almost...
Yeah, there is that biscuit.
Yeah.
Wow, cool, man.
Jeez.
Can we drink it yet?
Yeah, let's drink this. This is awesome.
Cheers. Cheers. Don't spit it out.
I know, I was trying to do the slurp.
Black licorice. First thing comes right through is black licorice.
Oh, and then coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of dark coffee bitterness. Oh, man.
Man, this beer's cool, man. Woo! I'm stoked on this one.
Tons of
licorice hits up front, and then coffee just blows through.
Tons of coffee bitterness, and then a little bit of dark chocolate bitterness.
Yeah, so reading about this beer, they said there's some bitterness that will mellow out. I was expecting hot bitterness. But really, to me, it's not hot bitterness. It's like bitterness.
It's chocolate. It's coffee bitterness.
Yeah, it's coming through like bitterness through the roasted malts that they're using.
Yeah, if you put,
it's almost like they. It's almost like with a beer like this, they did a really long boil, and like charred their boiler. You know?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like just turned up the heat and let it boil and reduce and just let the wort get really super syrupy like that.
Yeah, and you have that little layer of carbon because there's some of that carbon bitterness. Yeah. Man.
Because sometimes if you use just black patent malt, that black patent malt tends to have that metallic flavor.
Yeah.
Irony metallic. This has none of that. It has, like really super burnt sugar, burnt caramel, that sort of flavor coming.
It's got a real carbon flavor to it. I can't tell if that's kind of a black, like a dark.
I'm not getting any soy on the palate.
No.
I was getting it through the nose, but not through the palate. That soy is that kind of that sweet kind of funkiness, and none of it comes from the palate. It's like black licorice, coffee. It is vanilla.
This is a bitter malty beer, but it's all coffee bitterness to me. Maybe part of that is the hops blending with some of the chocolate malts or something like that, and maybe they're blending really well to give it the illusion.
I'd be curious to see what kind of hops they're using.
And it would also be good because they said it might come off hoppy at the beginning, and where we're drinking it. If you let this mellow out, if that hoppiness goes away.
See, I think a beer like this, if they were to age it in barrels, don't age it in bourbon or... I'd like to see this aged in barrels, but without any spirit barrels.
Just plain oak.
Yeah, just like American oak or French oak or something like that. That would be so freaking awesome.
I've never said this before, and I never even thought I would think it. It does not need to be aged.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
I think it would almost detract because you would attribute so much of the natural flavor of this beer to the barrel.
Yeah.
You wouldn't give this beer.
Yeah, you would think that was just coming from the barrel, and it wasn't
you wouldn't
coming
really
from...
give it its due. This is just...
Well, one thing that comes to mind when I think about beers like this is that there's a lot of newer breweries out there, and barrel aging has become a big thing, and it's really popular. And I love barrel aged beers. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking them, but Bell's has been around for a long time. They've been around before the whole hoopla about all the barrel aging, so they've learned by trial and error about how to make beers ageable, how to make beers taste, add complexity, so through all of their beers, there's different levels of complexity for the style of their beer, and this just knocks my socks off.
I like I said, this is probably the most flavorful, most aromatic, most complex stout that I've had, and that has not been aged in a bourbon barrel. Most of the things that to achieve this level of complexity, this level of flavor and aromatics, You normally need to age it in a bourbon barrel. But this one, as far as we know, hasn't been. And it's right up there with them. You know, so that is just head and shoulders above Stout.
Let's say cheers to Bell's Brewing Company.
Get out and try this. You guys in Michigan, you can get this on a regular basis. You're lucky. Lucky people. This is fantastic.
Drink craft beer.
Yes.